Live from Hollywood, California, VJ Vernon Husky, the Big Vanilla Funnies, Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, everybody, welcome back to VJ's Unsportsmanlike Conduct right now, Spreaker.com, iHeartRadio. Y'all know what it is, man. I'm in the building. It's your boy VJ Vernon Husky, a.k.a. the Big Vanilla Shaq, 8515. We're going to get back into the NBA playoffs, man. But what I want to do right now is I got to spin this whole thing back around into the top 10 point guards of all time that I was doing online. And I posted a video online. The video was mad old. The video, there's nothing new about the video. The video was shot back in December. And I put out there that there might be a question for certain people of being top point guards of all time. And the internet and my fans and my followers, friends, associates, whatever you want to call yourself, went crazy. They went insane and decided that I did not know what I was talking about. But it's funny because I always tell people, nobody listens, man. People hear what they want to hear. People read what they want to read. Not at any point did I say a certain player was not the greatest point guard of all time. All I said is that I had some valid questions and I thought it was very, very debatable. So what I did is I stayed up super late last night and I put together a brand new top 10 point guards of all time, in my opinion. I got stats, I got numbers, I got situations, I got equations, I got PE, per, I got PPR, I got per, I got turnovers, I got assists, I got points, I got championship, I got everything that you will want. You guys got to excuse the slightly raspy voice. I'm still a little under the weather. Brother had a wisdom tooth pulled out just about 3-4 days ago, and I'm still dealing with this end of the spring kind of cold season here in Los Angeles, California. So, but what I also did is also reached out to a colleague of mine in the sports talk industry and invited him onto the show. So we'll bring him in a second and we're going to compare our top 10. We're going to talk a little bit about the Clippers. He actually covers the Clippers. He actually works on that side of the sports. He's from SB Nation. He appears on NBC LA. And he is a radio host on iHeartRadio. So we're both on iHeart. He's on SB Nation. And then also, as I said, NBC LA, which I will hopefully, you guys pray for me, I might be getting me a gig over there soon. Close to some things. I'm LeVar balling the hell out of it. I'm talking it into existence. Most people would be like, no, don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Don't put it out. I'm LeVar balling the hell out of it. And I'm going to put it into existence. So we'll get my man on here in a second. But just real quick, I just want to get into just last night, just really quick. Kawhi Leonard, the Toronto Raptors, Philly had every opportunity. We'll talk a little bit later in the show, too, about Embiid and him crying and hugging and smooching this girl in the hallway. We're going to talk about Jimmy Butler. We're going to talk about Tobias Harris. We're going to talk about Brett Brown. There's a lot of people, stories out here today, Brett Brown's job could be in trouble. There's stories out here that Brett Brown's job could be in jeopardy because, honestly, at the end of the day, he didn't close the deal. They made midseason moves. They pushed all their chips in. And for the second year in a row, they're going home in the second round. This whole process thing, you got Tobias as a free agent. You got Jay Butler as a free agent. I told Chris Broussard a year ago watching the finals with him in person, I do not think Embiid and Ben Simmons are going to play with each other forever. I think by next year, one of them is going to start to bitch and complain, and they're going to want out. So we'll touch on that. We'll also touch on the Nuggets. They're just young. They're not ready. We'll touch on Portland. They got veterans. They've been there as far as hitting big shots, hitting big moments. Dame Lillard, McCullough. Oh, my God. CJ. Wow. Just wow. And then what that sets up for the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that everybody wanted to see with the Bucks and the Raptors, and the Western Conference Finals that I don't think a lot of people saw coming, and Portland and Golden State. How about that backcourt competition that we're about to watch for the next 6 or 7 games? Because that's a 6 or 7 game series, I believe so. I kind of hope Durant don't come back. I really do. I kind of hope Durant don't come back so we can get that matchup, because I don't think that Portland has anybody that can really battle Durant at that position. You can maybe throw a lot of different bodies at him, but as far as stopping Durant, battling Durant, I don't see it coming. So we want to get my special guest in here in one quick second, and we'll start talking top 10 point guards of all time. And as always, I do want to thank everybody for listening right now. VJ's on Sports with Like Conduct. You know your boy VJ Wright, man. VJ Vernon Husky. VJ Wright, that's because I always think I am. It's the 8515, the Big Vanilla Shack, the Big Vanilla Sports Guru, Mr. Never Shut Up, VA's Top Talk. Well, y'all know all the nicknames, man. So listen, let's get right into what I was talking about, how I posted a video, and the video's from December. The video's from December here, and I was just having a discussion with somebody in studio. We were doing a test sports talk show in Hollywood, and the point guard position came up, and somebody said Magic Johnson, hands down, point guard, greatest point guard ever, hands down. Fine. I don't like the hands down part. I don't like the it's a non-debate part. I'm the kind of guy that there is a debate. Like you can like Kobe or you can like LeBron. There is a debate there. But at the end of the day, the debate still ends with Jordan. You can like Montana. But for 8 Super Bowls and 6 Super Bowl rings, to me, the debate ends with Tom Brady. And I'm not a Brady guy. And I know what Joe did. But there is a debate. You can have Jerry Rice. But there is a guy named Randy Moss. You can have any baseball player you want. I'm going to take Ken Griffey Jr. as the best 5-tool player that I've ever seen. You can name all these other tennis guys. Just give me Rafael Nadal. I'm not losing anything by taking Rafael Nadal. I'm not losing anything by taking Kobe. That's not to say somebody else isn't the greatest. I get that. But the part of the debate of it's not even close and it's undebatable, I can't rock with. If that's the case, then everybody close their phones, close their laptops, Bleacher Report shut down, ESPN shut down, Fox Sports 1 shut down, and let's just watch CNN and let's watch reruns of Friends and Grey's Anatomy all day long. Let's not talk no more sports if there's no debate. That's why it's silly to me. So, I actually got a special guest in right now. A gentleman that is in the industry, a gentleman that I met through Chris Sylvester. You guys know Chris Sylvester, really good friend and colleague of mine, does play-by-play up at Cal Poly when I'm his color commentary for college football up there for ESPN 1280. Shout out to Cal Poly and the Mustangs. I'm ready to get this season started. Get that contract over to me so I get my John Hancock on it so we can get this fall cracking with college football. This gentleman has worked on SB Nation. He also appears out here in L.A. on NBC L.A. I just saw a clip of him with him and my mentor, Rob Parker. You guys know Rob Parker from Fox Sports 1. He's done my show before many times. I've been in studio, which I'm actually setting up to go back in studio again for a second time because me, him, and Chris Broussard got some things to talk. And he's also a host on iHeartRadio, and I guess that's where we kind of have our joint and our affiliation too, because I have my show over there podcasting on iHeartRadio. Mr. Nick Hamilton, man. Everybody welcome Nick. Nick, what's up? Good, buddy. Welcome to the show.
Hey, man, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
No, it's all good, brother. I love networking. I love meeting new people. And it's almost like coaching in sports. Sometimes in sports debate and radio, you just need a new voice, right? You just need somebody new to go back and forth with.
Man, all the time.
All the time. So, listen, we texted yesterday. I talked about point guards. Let's, just real quick, what'd you think of the 2 Game 7s yesterday?
I thought they were fantastic, man. I mean, you couldn't ask for a better Game 7, especially without the Warriors or the Rockets playing. You look at Kawhi, what I call Kawhi Jordan-esque, with that fadeaway follow-through shot at the last few seconds of the fourth quarter to give Toronto the advantage. And you look at Portland and Denver with the horrible, horrific, terrible ref calling that was going on in that game. I mean, Portland was still able to prevail. I mean, C.J. McCollum pretty much put the team on his back and took the load over for Dame Dollar, who had a kind of an off game. And they prevailed, so they're about to face Golden State. So, I mean, it was a great Game 7 between Portland and Denver. Great Game 7 between the Sixers and Toronto, and definitely had to laugh at Joel Embiid crying, man. I mean, he had the crying Jordan face, but it was an ugly crying Jordan face.
Well, listen, I'm not one for making fun and poking at people too much, but and I don't like calling athletes names too often. I really don't. I feel like it's kind of out of grown man character. But Joel Embiid is a clown. Joel Embiid has always been a clown. He cares more about trying to get a date with Rihanna and trying to troll people than he does being consistent on the basketball court. And I know he's popular. I know he makes a lot of money. I know he puts up great numbers from night to night. But if you really look at those last 3 games, I'm sorry, bruh. You can't be, you got Mark Jackson or whoever's calling these games, calling him, possibly the best, most skilled big man in basketball, or he's going to be a legendary great player. And I'm like, all right, that's cool, but you got to show up, man. You got to show up and do what you're supposed to do. And then you can't break down crying walking back to the locker room like that. You got to save that. Remember when we were kids and the coach or your dad or your stepdad or your uncle or your big brother, they used to tell you, say that for the locker room, man. Don't put that out there. You do that, you break down and you say that in the locker room. So I ain't got no beef with people clowning them, because you open the door when you're going back and forth with Jared Dudley, like he's freaking Jared Dudley, dog. You know what I mean? Like when you're going back and forth with Jared Dudley, I'm sorry, I gotta clown you, man. And I thought it was hilarious. Where does Philly go? You have Tobias free agent, Jimmy Butler free agent. I told Chris Broussard face to face a year ago, we're watching the finals together, that I do not believe that Embiid and Simmons are going to play with each other past 2020. Players just don't want to stay where they are anymore. Sooner or later, one of them's going to get tired of the other, and they're going to want out. What happened? And there's a report that Brett Brown's job can be in jeopardy because they pushed all chips in by making these moves. So they have no flexibility this summer, really. They don't have any real draft picks to work with. The Philly could be in trouble. Is that where you see Philly at?
Well, there is some type of trouble. I mean, yes, we all know Brett Brown was actually coaching to keep his job throughout the entire playoffs. So that's not a surprise there. But then when you look at Joel Embiid and you look at Ben Simmons, these two cannot play together and be successful. It just doesn't happen. When you look at what Ben Simmons does when Joel Embiid is off the floor, it opens up the lane where Ben Simmons can actually slice the defense and actually get to the rack. And when you have Joel Embiid in there, it kind of clogs up the lane and forces Ben Simmons to either kick it out, hit up a 5 or 6 foot jumper, and then move on down the lane, or either brick a shot and move back down the floor. So in order for Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons to even coexist or think about coexisting, they're going to, first of all, Ben Simmons is going to have to develop some type of jumper. Yep. I don't give a damn who he has to play with. If he has to call up Reggie Miller, if he has to call up Kobe, if he has to call up Tim Grover, whoever he has to call up, he needs to get a nice 15 to 20 foot solid jumper, because he is the one jumper away from being great, because we all know the totality that he has as far as his development, as far as his the things that he's been blessed with, as far as being one of a potentially great player. Joel Embiid, to me, comes off a bit Shaq-esque. When I say that, I mean as far as just the lazy factor. He doesn't work as hard as he should work. He does not come into camp in shape. Joel Embiid in the offseason needs to lose about maybe 15 to 20 pounds and get himself in shape. Do some more cardio. I'm not mad at him for trying to, shoot a shot at Rihanna. Hell, we all trying to shoot our shot at Rihanna at one time or another. So I'm not mad at Embiid for that, buddy. Shoot your shot, but also make sure you shoot your shot on the court and make sure that you get your team over the hump. And Joel Embiid didn't do that throughout this series. He's a guy that I have to look at his mental. How tough is he mentally? He's a talented center. Definitely could be one of the best big men to go down to play this game. But the way he's playing right now doesn't really act like it. It doesn't seem like it, because he's making several excuses more than he's producing results. And when you have a guy of that caliber that's making more excuses than results, you're going to be in trouble. So if I'm the Philadelphia 76ers and I'm looking at both guys long term, I'm probably going to roll with Ben Simmons over Joel Embiid. And I'm probably going to give Ben Simmons as much help as I can around him, but also force him to go get somebody that can help him develop a J, because the J needs to be wet. If he doesn't have a wet J, talent is of no consequence, because you can't have a guy with that type of skill set just be mediocre or average.
No, I agree with you 100%. And just to add on to that too, he got to get rid of that Kardashian, man. Them chicks, I don't know what's down low. But that thing, hey man, let me tell you something, bro. That thing real. I asked somebody yesterday, just name me one athlete that got away. Harden was smart enough to get out, and Reggie Bush was smart enough to get out. The rest of them, Miles Austin, who was the white boy from the Nets? Yeah, exactly. All of them. Just Tristan Thompson. Like I don't think he's grabbed I don't think he's had double-digit rebounds since he really got hooked up.
He's got double-digit groupies.
Yeah.
All right. It worked, I guess.
I guess so, man. All right, listen. This is what I did with my top 10 list. I didn't number 1 through 10. I only numbered 1, 2, and 3 because I honestly feel like one of the most overdone thing in sports talk is top 10 lists because normally 4 to 10 can be so interchangeable regardless of your category, regardless of the sport. So I'm going to let you go first as the guest because I'm such a gracious host. You can give me your bottom 5. If you want to start there, give me your bottom 5 of your top 10 point guards of all time and tell me why.
Well, I think, I don't put them in any particular order. Let me be clear.
Okay.
I have a set list of, top 10 or, 10 guys that I felt like were the best point guards in so I have to look at my bottom, as you call it, bottom 10 or whatever.
Okay.
I definitely have to look at, Walt Clyde Frazier.
Okay.
Of course, the late Bob Cousy.
Okay.
I have to say Steve Nash is another one.
All right.
CP3.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you got to look CP3. Of course, Zeke, Isaiah Thomas.
Yeah. My guy.
So those are pretty much who I have in my bottom.
All right, in my bottom, I went with J Kidd. And J Kidd, and I really go deep in notes, man. I'm a note taker. I really go deep in notes. Jason Kidd has one of the most weirdest great careers in NBA history. If you really look at Kidd, if I didn't show you the name and I just said 40% from the field, 34% from 3, 78% from the free throw line, 12 points, 6 boards, 8 assists. You wouldn't go, oh yeah, that was a Hall of Famer. He's never averaged.
Or even sniffed it.
It even sniffed it. 21 seasons. He's never averaged 20 points a game. His highest is in 02 and 03 at 18.7. He led the league in steals 5 times. He's 9-time All-D, 6-time All-NBA, and of course he has the one championship that he really steadied that team. Dirk was the MVP and the superstar, but him and Jason Terry, I really felt like steadied that run, which ended up pulling 4 in a row and beating LeBron and Wade and Bosh in the Heat. But you talk about a guy who's got just really a weird career because the numbers, you would look at the numbers and go, that's not a Hall of Fame career. But Jason Kidd is clearly one of the best point guards to ever play college, to ever play high school, and to ever play in the NBA. One of the best point guards to ever play, period. And as soon as LeBron gets tired of Frank Vogel, he's going to be the head coach in Los Angeles. That's a setup. We're going to go into that, too, a little bit before I let you go.
Yeah, please.
Yeah, we'll go into that a little before I let you roll. I got Cousy in there, too, so we agree on Cousy. I got Nash in there, too. Nash is another guy. I mean, just when you look at the numbers, 14, 8, and 3, he was 50% from the field, 43% from 3, 90% from the free throw line. I mean, he was automatic from the free throw line. He's 3rd all-time in assists. I believe Jason Kidd is 6th all-time or 7th all-time in assists. I have to find that again, too. But
I believe he's 7th. I want to say 7th.
Yeah, 7th.
He might be higher, but yeah
7th all-time. And I threw Zeke in there, too, because I'm a Pistons fan. I've been a Pistons fan since I was a kid. Isaiah's my guy right before guys like Kobe and Rasheed Wallace. I respect Jordan. I respect LeBron, but they just aren't my guys. Zeke was my guy as a kid growing up. Kobe was my guy at the end of my teenage years into my adulthood. I also loved Rasheed. I got an infatuation for Tar Heels. My nephew's Kendall Marshall, who played in Carolina. I've been a Tar Heel my whole life. Nice. Yeah, I support
Tar Heel basketball myself.
Absolutely, yeah. I've been a Tar Heel fan my whole life. I got family. I got a cousin that got his master's from Chapel Hill. I got family down there. I spent summers in Tobacco Road and Clinton and Wally and Durham and Wilmington and Ingo, North Carolina. So I'm a huge Tar Heel guy. So there's always Tar Heels that I love. Isaiah's got the 2 rings. We know what Zeke did. Zeke came in the league averaging 23. I don't think people realize that. His rookie year, he was averaging 23 and 8. And 45% from the field. Where Zeke falls for me a little bit, he was just under 30 as a three-point shooter. He wasn't a three-point shooter. And that was really before the three-point shot was really revolutionized into the game. But he's got the finals MVP, 5-time All-NBA. And he's 8th all-time in assists. He's actually right behind Chris Paul. Speaking of Chris Paul, I don't have Chris Paul in my top 10, and I'll tell you why.
What?
No, I don't. I don't have Chris Paul in my top 10. Now, there is a guy I'm going to name in a minute that you might be able to sub out for Chris Paul, but I just won't do it. I don't have Chris Paul in my top 10 because I think Chris Paul, like James Harden, circumvents the rules of the game. And I don't want to use the word cheat, but they circumvent the rules of the game. And I personally, I got to be, well, listen, I've never seen a player flop more than Chris Paul does. I've never seen a player
more than Manu Ginobili. Because Manu was a flopper.
Manu was a big flopper. I'll give you that.
So was Vlade Divac. Vlade Divac was probably one of the biggest floppers, and then next under him will probably be Manu Ginobili.
But
then you could probably put Chris Paul in that.
But it did not equal until their stats raising. Chris Paul's flopping, to me, it translates into his points going up and more possessions for his team, which help his assist numbers go up. Like there's times, Chris Paul
the guys are gonna knock down the J.
There's times Chris Paul flops in the backcourt, bro, like bringing the ball up. There's times he flops when there's just no point to flop. Divac flopped in the paint all the time. I give you that. He flopped in the paint.
And so did Manu. Manu was he should go to acting school. He should get a Golden Globe for some of the flops that he got away with not paying $5,000 in fines.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
I'll give you that.
You can't say that. And I'm looking at Chris. The reason why I said Chris Paul is this. The man's a 9-time All-Star.
Yeah.
7-time defensive, selection player.
Uh-huh.
All-Star MVP. The dude averages like 10 assists a game. Probably right around 18, 19 points a game. And he's a floor general. And then when you have a guy like that with that type of skill set, he's 6 feet. Maybe 6 1/4 with shoes.
Yeah.
This is a guy that is definitely, a person that can control the tempo, and that's why I put him in my, in my 10 as far as the top point guards, because this is what Chris Paul brings to the table.
I'm not going to disagree with a lot of that. I'm not going to disagree with a lot of that. But my last point is he is slightly to middle of the road a dirty player, and I don't like dirty players.
Well, he is a habitual nut puncher, and that's the thing I don't like about him.
Yeah, no trip. He's a habitual
line.
He does a lot of things that if you did them in the NBA, you're protected. If he did them in the neighborhoods that you and I probably grew up playing in, he'd have been punched in his face about 20 times by now.
Oh, he probably would have got stomped out. Too.
Yeah, he'd have got stomped out a few times. He likes to try to cut underneath guys when they're dunking and hanging on. He just does things. Listen, I play sports, and I'm sure you did too. I was a 100% clean, physical football player. I don't play to the whistle. I play to the echo of the whistle. But I don't do forearms to the throat. I don't do extra pushing up off the rib cage. My thing is, there's just no point in it, and I want you at your best. And just like I don't like PEDs. I don't like anybody that's been attached to PEDs. The only guy that gets a pass for me is Barry, and that's because Barry kept it a buck. And when Barry had a chance to snitch on people, like other people were snitching on people, Barry kept his mouth shut. Barry, it was never proven that Barry
exactly.
He never failed. It was never proven. He never failed one test. Never. So Barry is the only guy. But in the NFL and baseball, I don't. When that PEDs gets attached to your name, I lose it for you, man. Because I'm like, I don't like cheaters. I never cheated on the test in school.
I don't get that deep with PEDs. I don't really care because my thing is this: I don't care how many PEDs you take. If you don't have that hand-eye coordination to hit a ball and know how to hit a ball, it's not going to help you hit a ball.
True.
If you don't have that talent, that skill set to go ahead and if you're a defensive player, obviously hit the ball or make an interception, or if you're a wide receiver or whatever to cross the middle, whatever you use it, running back to get through the holes, north-south runner. If you can take as many PEDs like you take a Flintstone vitamins. If you don't have the skill set and the talent, it don't matter what you take. You still suck. So I don't get that deep into PEDs. Like if you take them, cool. Hey, that's between you and your woman. Because either your stuff gonna shrivel or whatever. So that's between you and your woman.
Yeah.
I have no, I stay out of people's bedrooms. I don't care.
Yeah.
All I care about is what happens on the field, and on the diamond when it comes to that kind of stuff. I mean, that's just me. I don't take it that seriously. It's not that big of a deal. Either you're good or you're not. It's that simple.
Okay. And I'm with that. I'm a little different. And mainly because football was my first love and football was my main sport. And when guys cheat in football, I do take it personally because we all out here lifting, we all out here running wind sprints, we all out here putting our bodies on the line, down after down, play after play. And for you to cheat, that football was a little different to me, and it did carry over to baseball, and a little bit of it is my feelings because as I mentioned before, my guy of all time is Ken Griffey. If Ken Griffey had took the juice, he'd have crushed all these records, and nobody would be talking about Trout and Harper and Pujols and all these other guys that people try to put above Griffey. But I saw Griffey in person with my own eyes in his prime.
Same here.
It was the best five-tool player that I've ever seen put on batting gloves and pick up a bat and walk to the plate.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't consider it cheating, right? Because I look at it like, dude, if this is what you want to do and you feel like you got to – everything is about competition. It's a competitive advantage, right? We stress about, you got to be the best. You got to be the greatest. You got to be the best. You got to lift those extra two bench presses. You got to do those extra 2 dumb curls or whatever it is. Run those extra 5 laps, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so everything is competitive. So why is it okay for you to be competitive in that regard, but not be competitive in another regard that's going to help you and the team that you're playing for? That's why I said I don't consider it cheating, because if we're all about competition and we're all about having that competitive advantage, then do whatever it takes to have a competitive advantage. Now, I agree with you. I don't believe in cheap shots. I don't believe in, doing things that could potentially end somebody's career because you want to be on some suckerific activity. No, I don't believe in that. But if I don't consider PEDs cheating, because I feel like, hey, man, if you got the juice and you got the advantage, do what you do. Now, if it backfires on you, then you're going to look like the biggest idiot this side of the Mississippi. But if that's what you feel like you need to do, go for broke.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion.
I feel you. Yeah. And that's what this all is, man. It's all opinions. I like I said, it's a little personal with me because football is my first love. And when you're talking about putting your bodies out there and someone's getting an advantage that isn't allowed, I got a problem with it. So, but Chris Paul, that was just my last thing. I think he is a slightly to middle of the road dirty player, and I just don't like dirty players. To me, you can hurt people, you can end careers. Sports is supposed to be a fraternity. At the end of the day, we're all supposed to, dap up. Now between the lines, I'm gonna try to kill you, man. I'm from that era. I'm from the era watching Jordan and watching Kobe and watching, the era I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. I'm from the era of I ain't even trying to hang out with you after the game for dinner. We can do that in the off season. But today and during these 82 or these 16 or these 162, we ain't friends, man. And I'm trying to hurt you. I'm trying to hurt your heart. I ain't trying to hurt you physically, but I'm trying to hurt your heart. So I'm just not into dirtiness. So let's move on. Now, the guy you could probably sub Chris Paul out for, and that's because there's a debate whether he was a point or whether he was a shooting guard, is going to be Allen Iverson. And part of this is my VA love, being from Virginia. I watched Allen Iverson in high school once score 69 points in a triple overtime game for Bethel against Woodbridge High School in a state semifinal game. I've been watching Bubba Chuck that long. But when when you look at the point, if you look at the years where he actually ran the point, where the years he actually had his highest scoring totals, and he actually had his highest assist totals in years he ran the point. So when people would go, well, he was a shooting guard. Well, Larry Brown made him a shooting guard so he could fit Eric Snow into the fray, and it took him to a finals. But 26, 6-3, 42% from the field. Wasn't a great three-point shooter, only 31%, 78 from the line. But he led the league in steals 3 times. He's 4-time scorer champ, 7-time All-NBA, and he's got his MVP. And we know about the 5-game series against the Lakers. Here's a really crazy stat I found. Allen Iverson is not even in the top 30 in assists all time. I thought that was crazy when I found that last night.
Yeah, that is crazy. I mean, I had Iverson higher on my list.
Okay.
So
you got Iverson then.
He's on my list, but he's a little higher up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I had to put numbers to it, right now he would even out at maybe 6 or 5 on my list.
Yeah, I have him probably at 5 or 4. On my
Okay.
list.
All right. Great.
Yeah.
All right. So go ahead. Give me the rest of your list.
Well, I'll go. Let's see. So I'll say this. So I said Zeke. So I definitely have to put Allen Iverson.
Okay.
In that equation.
Yeah.
Steph Curry would be my next one.
Okay. I got Curry up there too. Okay.
John Stockton.
Okay.
Actually, excuse me, not John Stockton. I'm tripping. Rod Strickland. That's my number.
You know what? I thought about Strickland. I really thought hard and long because I saw him in the book of his career. Yeah.
Rod Strickland would be my number 3.
Ooh.
My number 2 would be the Big O, Oscar Robertson. And the number 1, obviously, the man himself, Irvin Magic Johnson.
So you leave Stockton completely out of the 10?
Yeah, I don't, because here's the thing, like, it's so many, and it's hard to do. That's why I don't really like putting guys in the top 10.
I got you. Yeah, I got. We feel the same about that. Yeah.
It's so many, great point guards in the history of this game. You hate to leave. I mean, Stockton would be on my list for sure. But I think people don't really give the respect to Rod Strickland because I feel like Rod Strickland kind of restructured the point guard game in his time.
Yeah.
And I think you tell me a better point guard to model your game after than Rod Strickland, as far as the overall totality of what Strickland brought to the game and brought to the court.
Well, I saw him play up close and personal with the Wizards.
He was versatile. He was very versatile. He had a street ball mentality, but he knew how to play within the rules. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So he had that grittiness and that's, to me, that's who guys like Russell Westbrook, as far as the grittiness, as far as the mentality, that reminds me of a young Rod Strickland. When you look at what, Rod Strickland, I mean, to me, Allen Iverson, to me, was a young Rod Strickland.
Okay.
Because AI defied the game. Like, AI could pretty much redefine the point guard position, as far as I'm concerned. When you look at and I know everybody goes and says, he crossed up Jordan twice. Okay, and that was a monumental, at that time, because that's when Jordan was in his prime.
Yeah.
So to be able to cross up the GOAT like that, I mean, it was remarkable. And it showed the skill set and the tenacity that he had just being a hog, on the floor. I mean, we talked about earlier about Chris Paul being the floor general, but so was Allen Iverson. When Allen Iverson stepped over Tyronn Lue after making that shot.
Oh, man.
That was gangster. You know what I mean? Like, that was the most gangster thing I've seen. And so I had tickets with some friends of mine, and we were at that game. Now, we weren't that close up, obviously, but just being able to have it played over on the Jumbotron was just like, whoa. What did he just do?
What was more gangster, that move or Scotty's dunk over Ewing in the playoffs with the push?
I would have to say that move. Only because the thing about it was he was like by the Laker bench and stepped over dude after he knocked down the tough shot.
Yeah.
And looked at dude like, what?
And Ty was grabbing him because Phil had put Ty on him because no one could guard him. I mean, he was giving, Kobe was in foul trouble. So he put Ty, and Ty was grabbing him, and people, was making it look like he was stopping Iverson. And you're right. And that was like the shot that kind of sealed that game, other than Eric Snow's one-hand runner from the free throw line. That was kind of the shot that sealed that game, game one.
and he finished with 55 that game.
Yeah.
In overtime.
Yeah.
So I mean that was the Scotty dunk was nice. I mean we can always go with the John Starks left-handed dunk over Jordan, Pippen, and I believe it was Horace Grant.
Yep. Was Jordan really in that period? And I'm not a Jordan guy. I'm not a Jordan guy.
Again, I'm the first one to tell you Jordan is the GOAT. And I am a Jordan fan.
Okay.
But let's call a spade a spade. Jordan was in the vicinity of getting bashed on. Now, Scotty and Horace were a little bit more up front, and they got bashed on probably a little bit more than Jordan did, but Jordan was in the vicinity, and it's collateral damage.
Yeah, and Starks was my guy, man. You talk about whenever I talk sport, I love to. We all know who the greats are, but there's always kind of B-rated guys, B+, B- guys that I think everybody falls in love with, but you can't outwardly cheer because people are like, oh, he sucks. There was nobody that I've messed with harder that wasn't a superstar in the 90s than I did John Starks. And I'm not a Knicks fan at all, but I love the fact that Jordan was going to give him 45, but he never backed down. He never withered. He never cried. He used to get right in Jordan's face. He used to talk trash right there. And I think Jordan respected that about John Starks. He was going to cook him, but I think he respected the fact that John Starks would actually fight back. And the Knicks fans loved him. They loved him to this day. I got family in New York. Yeah. I got family that's got throwback Starks jerseys. And Starks is my guy, man. I always met hard with John Starks.
The city of Houston loves John Starks too.
Yeah.
And we all know
oh,
not
man.
for the best reasons either. But the city of Houston loves John Starks.
Man. Patrick Ewing was 9 missed 3-pointers away from getting that ring. And you know what? If he hits 3 of those, think about how that changes history. Not just the Knicks. How that changes how we talk about the big man, how we talk about Houston, how Kenny Smith gets to sit on TNT and talk about his 2 rings. You know, that would have changed the history of the NBA because the Knicks don't start to break that up. Remember, after that year, the Knicks started to break that up.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing about it is this. Patrick Ewing, remember that one play where Patrick Ewing should have dunked the ball?
Of course.
And he laid it in?
Yeah.
Because we found out later that he could not dunk. His knees gave out on him.
Yeah.
And he couldn't elevate the dunk. I mean, you look at the Houston, but to me, this was the key factor. They had Dream. When you have Dream, all possibilities are going in your favor. Because Hakeem Olajuwon was the guy. And there's always going to be the debate and the question of what if Hakeem and Jordan met up in the finals?
Oh, man.
Who would win that battle? And that's always an unknown question, that we'll have as far as sports is concerned because we'll never know. I mean, you can play NBA 2K and figure out on a simulation mode, but in all actuality, we'll never get that question answered. It's like we'll never get the question answered of who was a better boxer, Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali, if they were to square up in the ring. Because they're 2 different eras.
Who do you got?
I don't know, man. It's tough. I can't answer that question definitively because they are both great fighters in their primes. They fought different ways. And I'm not a boxing aficionado. I just like watching good fighters. But I can't definitively answer that question.
I would take Ali.
You would think that, but then you got to remember the power that Tyson brought. And remember the mentality that Tyson had. Tyson was there to kill you.
Yeah.
Tyson was like, I'm coming with these black trunks, these black shoes,
no
and
socks.
I'm here to whoop your ass.
Yeah.
And that's what he did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's what he did. And Ali was more, he would talk crap to you, and he would wear you down. So if you could get past maybe 3 rounds with Iron Mike,
yeah,
he'd probably wear him down, sure. But you got to get past those 3 rounds. And the brilliance of Ali was knowing his opponent. The one thing people don't give, I feel like they don't give Ali real credit for, was being the cerebral assassin that he was.
Yeah.
Because Ali he would talk and say, oh, if he gets to 4, He doesn't want any more, whatever. However, him and Bucky Brown would get together and ride. But he was cerebral and he studied his opponent probably better than most fighters we talk about today because he knew what he had to do. Whether it was on the rope-a-dope, and that was by accident. And so he figured it out very quickly in the midst of chaos that, I could use this rope-a-dope and wear my opponent out. That's how he got with George Foreman.
Yep.
He wore George Foreman down because George Foreman was a power hitter. He was mean, he was mad, and he was all about power.
And he was big. And he was big.
And Ali wore him down.
And Ali's camp, if you remember the documentary, Ali's camp was actually afraid for Ali. And right before they got off that plane, he looked at everybody, said he stood up on a private jet when it landed in Zaire. He said, so I understand that there's some of y'all who's afraid for me, who's scared. He goes, if you're afraid for me, don't get off the plane. And he turned around and walked off the plane. He said everybody looked at each other. Everybody got up and got their bags and got off. There were people who were literally scared for Ali because George Foreman, they said George Foreman used to break heavy bags. He used to rip heavy bags open during his training and sparring sessions. Like George Foreman, and that's why I pick him over Tyson, because you talk about that power and that rawness. Ali could take a punch because Joe Frazier landed some killer punches. I mean, he broke Ali's jaw, and Ali continued to fight. And I don't know if Tyson hit hard, but I don't know if Tyson was a harder puncher than Joe in his prime and Foreman in his prime. I don't know if Tyson was a harder puncher than those two guys in their prime.
Well, I'll tell you what. We can ask Mitch Green.
Yeah. Definitely.
He called Mike Tyson a certain name.
Oh, yeah, sure. They called him a sissy one. I'm a stand-up comedian.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna repeat that.
Yeah, I'm a stand-up comedian, and the funniest joke that I ever saw as a kid is when Steve Harvey reenacted it on the Apollo. Yep. I remember it as a stand-up comedian. I remember it word for word. I'm gonna throw my last five out there real quick. I got Curry. We know about Curry. 3 rings, 5-time All MVPs. Got the 2 MVPs. Scoring champ. 6-time All-Star. I just love the numbers, man. 48% from the field, 44 from the 3, 92 from the 3-point line, and he's 25-5 right now as a player. Ironically, those are Kobe's career numbers. Kobe's a 25-5 guy. So is Steph. So it's always funny when I hear people try to knock Steph, but you want to build. Kobe's like, whoa. I know he doesn't have the 5 rings, but he's on his way to number 4, and I'm not saying Steph's better than Kobe. That's not what I'm saying. But once again, wordplay. Oh, it's not even close. It's undebatable. I just try to stay away from that type of stuff. I got the Big O. Here's another thing I found about the Big O too, man. 10 seasons in Cincinnati. He only played 4 with the Bucks. In those 4 seasons, he didn't even average over 20 points in those years. Why is it that we always show the clips and we always talk about the Big O with the Bucks when he was with Cincinnati? Those are the years that he, when he was with the Royals, those are the years that he built the legacy of the Big O that we know today. He had 5 times. He had 11 plus assists in a season, 48 from the field, 83. And this is also in a time where they didn't have a 3-point line. His career numbers are 26, 7, and 9. I mean, that's just crazy to even think about. And then of course I got Stockton, and then I got Magic. Magic's number 1, but as how this whole thing started is on the Shaw was on, the guy used the word undebatable. And I just don't believe anything is undebatable because I know Magic's got the 5 rings. And Magic's got the 3 MVPs. 5th all-time in assists. So that means there's 4 guys. And I know Magic's career got cut short because of him contracting HIV. But at the same time, it just is what it is. We can only go on history. Bo Jackson only played 5-6 years in the NFL. But for my dollar, Bo Jackson might be the best running back I ever saw. Might be. I understand we want to say Emmett, Jim Brown, Barry. And Barry's probably the guy I would go with.
To me, I would say Barry. Barry to me is number 1. I would say Sweetness too.
Yeah,
I would say
exactly.
1A and 1B.
Sweetness is right. But I can sit and go, hey, bruh, Bo Jackson. And it's not like no one can go, nah, you're way. No, bruh. It's in the topic of, but the bigger argument is who was the best 2-way player. And I always say Deion Sanders. Out of Deion Sanders and Bo Jackson, I have to say Deion Sanders. Really? Well, Bo didn't play defense in football, but I will say, okay, well then I'll say this then. I'll give you that. The best pure athlete I ever saw, Bo Jackson.
Okay, that could be an argument.
He was a better baseball player than Deion.
Depends on what team Deion played for, because when he was with the Braves, Deion actually played, and even when he was with the Cincinnati Reds with Barry Larkin and those guys, let's not forget, Deion was the one that was hitting the clutch, hitting guys in the clutch.
Yeah,
and Deion still holds the record, and I say this all the time. Deion still holds the record for scoring a touchdown and hitting a home run within the same week.
The same.
Nobody has broken that record since. Just saying, I don't even think Bo would have broke that record. And Bo played outfield just like Deion played outfield.
Yeah, Bo was a better outfielder. Bo was a better baseball player. Bo was a better baseball player.
I think they're pretty evenly matched. And when I say, the reason why I say that is this, because defensively, I mean, we saw that Bo run up on the the wall and make that outstanding catch.
Yeah.
Not taking anything away from Bo Jackson, but also too, you got to look at what Deion Sanders brought to the table. Like Deion's presence with him and Brian Jordan and that outfield. I mean, that Atlanta Braves team beyond the mound. We know Tommy Glavine.
They should have won 3. They should have won 3 World Series.
But I'm saying that outfield with Brian Jordan and him, and
wasn't David Justice part of that outfield too?
David Justice,
yep.
Pre Holly Berry,
yeah,
for sure,
yeah,
absolutely. That was the nicest outfield in that time frame. Like the only guy you could probably sub out for that outfield would probably be Ken Griffey Jr. to put with Deion Sanders and Brian Jordan. That would have been the ultimate combo.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it was pretty damn close.
Well, Griffey, as I said before, Griffey's the best. And like I said, I'm being slightly biased, but Griffey is the best thing I ever saw pick up a baseball bat and put a glove on.
I would have to say Griffey would be my 2. I have to say Derek Jeter would be 1.
Okay.
The captain. I can't, because February of '95, first ever career at bat, double at the Kingdom.
Yeah.
Up the gap.
I give you, listen, I don't have a beef with DJ.
That's beef, but I said my top players, like I said in baseball, my top players were definitely, the captain.
Yeah.
Ken Griffey Jr., Deion Sanders,
Bonds.
Guys like that.
Bonds.
Yeah, Barry Bonds. For sure.
Okay, I was about to say.
Barry Bonds.
Oh, yeah,
sure. Even in Pittsburgh.
Exactly. It was winning MVPs and going 40-40 before.
To me, he's the home run king.
Yeah.
People need to put some respect on his name.
They do.
He's still the home run king.
Yeah, they need to put some respect on his name.
There's another home run king, but he's deceased. But he played in the Negro Leagues, but it's still baseball.
Yep.
And he was the ultimate home run king.
I feel like that about other leagues too, man. Like just to hop around, man, for the next 5 or 10 minutes. We can just go anyway, and I know you might got to roll, but just when I talk about like the quarterback position, whenever I do these kind of lists, I always put Warren Moon in my top 5. And the reason why people go top 5, I go yes, because if he was not forced to go up to Canada and win 5 damn Grey Cups before Bud Phillips thought to give him a shot, and Jerry Glanville to come down to Houston and play for the Oilers, if you take his CFL yards and touchdowns, he eclipses everybody in yards, touchdowns, like every category, he eclipses everybody. And nobody other than Dan Marino, those 2 guys were the best as far as 5-step drop, pull it back, and let it go. Nobody did it better than Dan Marino and Warren Moon.
But who's the GOAT? Because to me, I will say somebody is the GOAT.
The GOAT. Okay, if I had to go with the GOAT reluctantly, because I'm a lifetime Dolphin fan, and even though I'm a Michigan college football fan, he was my guy for a while. I just got tired of him beating my Dolphins. If we're to me, I'm about winning.
Wait! But the Dolphins at home have beat Brady 9 straight times.
We have, but
at home
we have.
Just saying.
But at the end of the day, man. 8 appearances and 6 rings. That just speaks, man. And you do it with different skilled people all the time. None of those guys but Gronk is going to go to the Hall. None of them. Now, people can go, well, he had Moss. He had Moss for a year and a half. In the 1 full year he had him, he threw 25 touchdown passes to him.
Yeah,
so it just shows you how great.
That was the best receiver he ever had. Back
exactly. He's done it. He's done it.
And he was the only, and Brady, that was the only guy Brady went to management and begged them to keep him.
Yep.
That was the only guy that he went to bat for.
Yeah, and let's get real. And you know, on my show, man, my shit's raw and uncut, man. I own the rights to my show. I say what I want to say. He's doing it with white guys that none of us would even blink at in a flag football game. We wouldn't even pick none of these guys. They're former quarterbacks.
No, I mean, when you look, I mean, white guys, black guys, but it's the system. And it's what Belichick has instituted and been able to fit around Brady and have guys buy in and believe into. It's a culture that they've been able to establish with the game. And so, I'm talking about from the top on down. And that's when we look at, when I say a team is run well, even though I don't agree with obviously the outside stuff, but when you look at the way the team is run, that team is run extremely well from top to bottom because they don't overpay for guys. They pay just enough. They say, hey, you can take it or you can take a walk. And if you're a guy that's trying to rehabilitate your career for whatever reason, whether it's some off the field trouble or injuries or what have you, that is the place for you to go. God bless them, but look at Josh Gordon. The 10 games that Josh Gordon played, I mean, you know, they embraced him. You didn't hear really a peep out of Josh Gordon until he made his own announcement. And that's the culture that you have with those guys. They have so many guys that they can play. I mean, obviously, you know, Gronk stands out. Gronk is a Hall of Famer.
Yeah, that's why I said except for Gronk. Gronk's a Hall of Famer, but
first ballot.
But Edelman, Welker, Amendola. I mean, like they take guys that no one wants.
Yeah, I mean, you look at guys that have resurrected their careers. Yeah. I mean, so it's hard. I mean, I look at, and I know you're going to get into this in a minute, but this is why it's so frustrating when I look at, you know, franchises like the Lakers, because they're one of the most prestigious, historic franchises in sports across the world, not just in our country, but across the world.
Oh, they're global.
When you look at prestigious franchises, we talk about the Yankees, we talk about the Cowboys, we talk about the Lakers, we talk about the Red Wings, we talk about the Dodgers, we talk about just franchises that have
Duke basketball, Carolina basketball,
Carolina basketball,
Kentucky,
USC football, Michigan football, Ohio State football, Miami football. We talk about Cal State Fullerton baseball. You know, when you talk about state college baseball, you know, you talk about the Oklahomas and the Wichita States and places like that. These places are huge. You know, we talk about Real Madrid. We talk about Manchester United.
Barcelona, Chelsea.
Barcelona. Yeah. Right. There are teams where, and guys that have come like David Beckham and Messi and guys like that have come over to the States and brought that same attraction. So it's very frustrating for a lot of fans and even people like myself because I want to see this team do well. I've always said when the Lakers and the Celtics are good, the league is better.
Absolutely. Throw the Knicks in there too. I feel like that with the Knicks. Too. Yep. I feel like that with the Knicks.
And let me tell you something. Quiet as kept. The Knicks could be a summer away from getting back from being relevant again. And I'm actually being good. Because if the Knicks are able to pull off what I like to call this miracle on 34th Street.
Yeah, would you text me the other day?
If they're able to pull off, which I think they can, I think they're going to probably get the number 1 pick, right, or the number 2 pick. Either one of those picks they're going to get. Either way, they're going to get Zion Williamson. Because if Phoenix gets the number 1 pick, they're not going to pick Zion. The better pick for them would be Ja Morant because he's going to have an overall better NBA career, in my estimation.
Yep.
And to pair him up with Devin Booker and DeAndre Ayton and those guys, I think he'll have and with the new coach and Monty Williams, I think that'd be a much better that could be a 35-win team. Maybe a 40-win team. Who knows if they can stay healthy. Josh Jackson has been absolute trash. He's a bust, so we only put him in the equation. But I think if you're the New York Knicks, you get Zion Williamson. I think that's a bigger attraction, and it helps you try to recruit guys like a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving. And if you get those guys, I mean, New York is a playoff team. If they stay healthy, New York is a playoff team, straight up. I mean, you have Kevin Knox, who I think is a good player. I think he's developing into a good player.
Yeah, he's got to come back from that injury.
Yeah, he's going to definitely come back. I think he comes back. You got a good coach in David Fizdale. I think you have a very good coach in David Fizdale. I think that's a coach that guys really respect. And he knows the game of basketball. Very fair coach when it comes to players. List reasonable expectations for his teams. And I think David Fizdale can do a magnificent job with those guys. I think that's the instant playoff contender. So I think the Knicks are a summer away. The Lakers, on the other hand, good God.
They're a clusterfuck. They're 100% clusterfuck. But I called it last. I called it last July, homie. I called it last July. I called it on every show I did, and I get around. I do a lot of different sports talk shows. Anybody asks me to come on, I come on, and there's some guys with bigger names and bigger networks like Chris and Rob. I go over on Fox Sports 1 in the studio and sit with them. I said, let me tell y'all something. And y'all could call it LeBron hate. You could call it what you want. I'm so beyond that. It's like, okay, fine, call LeBron. I don't even give a shit. Call LeBron hate. But at the end of the day, facts are facts, man. And proof is proof. The kids in sports, the kids can't run it like the parents did. The Yankees will never be the Yankees again. Dad is gone. The Lakers will never be the Lakers again. Dad is gone. Even in WWE, this is just business 101. Even in WWE, when Vince McMahon is not making decisions and he's letting Stephanie and Shane make a lot of decisions, the brand suffers. The ratings plummet. The stock falls. The kids weren't paying attention. They were too busy living off of Rich Daddy's name and partying with their friends and driving expensive cars and traveling and that's fine. I get it. But they weren't paying attention to the business side of what was going on. It's more than just dancing girls and celebrities for the Lakers. Dr. Buss had the it factor. When you sat with him, I've talked to guys who's had private conversations with him. I've talked to reporters and talked to longtime luxury box fan owners and company CEOs who tell me some of the coolest Dr. Buss 3 a.m. stories, 4 a.m. sitting in the forum. They said the guy just had it. His kids don't have that.
Well, here's what I say. And I mostly agree with what you're saying. The kids are different than the parents, obviously, because the parents are the ones that broke their back, made the sacrifices to open up the floodgates for the kids to have all of the amenities that they've been afforded. When I look at the Yankees, for example, let's use the Yankees and that franchise, the kids were lost when George Steinbrenner passed away. They were lost.
Yep.
Fortunately, they found their way, and they were smart enough to keep Brian Cashman.
Yes.
Because Brian Cashman knows what he's doing.
Yes.
And the daughter and the other son were able to pull the reins back in, get back to daddy's business, as I like to say, as far as the blueprint. And I think the Yankees are starting to make strides. You look at how they developed their farm system. They didn't spend a whole hell of a lot of money like they did in times past. When you talk about the WWE, you have Shane, you have Stephanie, but you also have a guy that's been inside to kind of help them run, and that's Triple H.
Yeah. So he's done a great job with NXT, but the top brand still suffers, though.
But no, the brand suffers because you don't have. It's not so much just with Daddy's vision, but you don't keep the people on board that you need to keep on board that kept Daddy's vision going.
Yeah.
And that's part of the problem, too. When I look at the Los Angeles Lakers and I look at Jeannie Buss, one of the nicest people you ever want to meet, very brilliant individual as it pertains to the business side, the Lakers have one of the best businesses going, hands down, in sports. I will say that, being here in Los Angeles, being around it, you see the effects of the business side, right? Mm-hmm. So they have a top-notch business side. When it comes to the basketball side, That is where the problem lies, because I believe that Jeannie Buss, in her great attempts to rescue the franchise from a relic, thanks to her brother Jimmy, I think she kind of bit off a little bit more than she can chew. Now, I don't want to I'm not saying that because I'm not sexist. I'm not saying that because she's a woman. I'm simply saying it based upon the optics.
Yeah, I got you.
Based upon what has transpired in the last 6 years. As I said on Going Rogan, this team has the Krispy Kreme award. They are a donut and six when it comes to playoff appearances. That is absolutely absurd and definitely not the Laker way. That is not what Dr. Buss put together when he bought this franchise from Jack Kent Cooke many decades ago. His vision was to make this team a winner every year and at least competitive every year.
Yep.
And Dr. Buss, the one thing about Dr. Buss was that when he put you in a position, he allowed you to flourish in that position. He stood back, he believed in you enough to take that position, and he stood back and allowed you to do what you need to do for your job. Now, if your job requirements are not being met, then he will pull you to the side, and obviously, whether you were the custodian or the general manager, he would say, hey, maybe we need to go in a different direction because we're not getting the needs met here in this position. I think what they have to do is I think Jeannie needs to take a very stern approach and a stronger approach when it comes to being in a position of leadership, because this is not a mom and pop organization. You cannot run it like a mom and pop. You have to run it like a Costco. You have to run it like a Target or a Walmart. You cannot run it like the mom and pop,
the corner liquor store
or the corner store.
Yeah.
Out here in LA. You can't do that. It's not going to work for you. And that's part of the problem. Jeannie should have hired somebody with basketball experience. I mean, you got two guys that you could have reached out to. Sam Presti being one of them. Ujiri could have been one of them. You could have had the permission to talk to him at least, especially after you're trying to go after Kawhi Leonard, which I don't think they're going to get, by the way. But
no, they're not getting Kawhi.
But if you're trying to increase your chances, you got a guy that's already with Kawhi, has a great relationship with Kawhi.
Mm-hmm.
So it just makes sense from the optics. You could have reached out to Neil O'Shea, who's the Portland GM, former LA Clippers GM.
Mm-hmm.
There are several people that you could have reached out to and allowed them to build their front office. You look at what the Los Angeles Clippers have done. The Clippers were a joke. They were a relic of what the Lakers built themselves up to be. You look at the Los Angeles Clippers now with Steve Ballmer, who has deep pockets. The guy has, $40 to $60 billion. You look at, he was smart enough to bring in one of the best, most brilliant basketball minds in Jerry West. You look at Lawrence Frank. You look at Doc Rivers. You look at that team that Doc Rivers constructed, along with the front office, gave away their best scorer in Tobias Harris. Everybody thought they were going to tank because they lost their best scorer. And they made it to the playoffs and took 2 games from the NBA champion Golden State Warriors. So when I look at this team, that's what I was telling you before. The Clippers are a premier destination. Yes, they will never get the same respect as the Los Angeles Lakers in LA because this is a Laker and a Dodger town primarily.
Just real quick, we're just not going to agree on that. I saw your clip. I saw the clip. I watched the episode where you and Rob were discussing this, and I'm like I said, maybe a max player. 2 guys, I just don't see it. And there's no guarantee. We always think we know where these guys are going to go. There's no guarantee that Kawhi's leaving Toronto. I just don't buy it. I think it's easy for us all to say Paul George was so-called out of OKC. Boogie was going to end up with the Lakers. Carmelo was going to...
Wait. Well, I got to stop you there because there was no guarantee that Boogie was coming to the Lakers.
Well, listen, exactly. Hold on. I didn't say there was no guarantee. I didn't say there was no guarantee. But the noise was out there. People were saying, oh, no, the Lakers are going to get Boogie. No, people were saying that, Nick.
No, but people wanted that. The thing about now the Paul George situation, absolutely, I agree with you. Everybody thought Paul George was going to be a Laker because he grew up out here. Kobe was his idol, so forth and so on. So I get that. I totally agree with you on that. But what I'm saying, too, is when you look at the Los Angeles Clippers, when you look at how they've turned this team around, how they made themselves respectable, See, before the Clippers weren't respectable. People were laughing at them. They were a joke. Mm-hmm. We all know that. You know it. Anybody listening to your program knows that. The Clippers were a joke. Mm-hmm. Before Steve Ballmer, they were a joke. And even post Steve Ballmer in that first year, people were still snickering and laughing at him. But over the course of time, which is why I'm saying the Lakers are a mess right now. You made it. You called them a particular term that I'm not going to use because I got to be careful. But
yeah, I got it. You're a little deeper and more attached than I am. I'm independent. I'm a freelance.
You know what they are. It's in disarray. We'll put it that way. Yeah. The Lakers front office is in disarray. Okay, and have been in disarray for a long period of time. With the Los Angeles Clippers, the reason why I say it's possible, and you're right, none of it's guaranteed. We don't know what's going to happen. The earth can end tomorrow. We don't know that. Nothing in life is guaranteed. I get that. What I'm saying is there's a higher probability of them getting Kawhi Leonard and another max player, whether that be Chris Middleton, whether that be if, and that's why I told you even on Twitter, key word being if.
Yeah.
If Golden State doesn't give Klay his max that he's seeking, I know from a couple of people that I've talked to regarding this situation that Klay's next destination that he's eyeing is Los Angeles. The next team that he's eyeing outside the Golden State Warriors would be the Los Angeles Clippers. The next team after that would be potentially the Los Angeles Lakers.
Yeah, that's why. And I'm not knocking your source or anything. I'm just saying, like they're going to. The owners come out and said his goal is to keep the Splash Brothers together.
Well, they're going to, but look what Klay is asking for. Klay is actually asking for 5 years, anywhere between 180 and 190. Now, I don't think that's bad. I think that's a fair number.
Yeah.
All that Klay Thompson has done and established, even when he doesn't get it going on the offensive end, on the defensive end, he gets it going. So I think Klay is a huge asset. He's part of one of the best backcourt shooting duos in probably in NBA history.
Yep.
So I don't fault Klay for wanting 5 years at 180 or 190 or whatever the specific number is. I'm looking at Golden State because let's say, like you said, we don't know where any of these guys are going.
No, we don't.
Let's say Kevin Durant stays.
Which I think he is. Which I think he is.
I doubt it.
Yeah.
But
most people do. Most people doubt it. But I think he's staying.
But here's the thing too. Let's say he stays. Right? You're not going to have enough money to pay Klay and Kevin Durant. One of them's got to take a hit. And for my money's worth, because we're playing the name game, they're going to roll with Kevin Durant over Klay Thompson because it's Kevin Durant. He is the best player in the game right now.
Yeah.
So they're going to roll with Kevin Durant, which by default is going to shun Klay Thompson, which forces Klay Thompson to make a decision. As I just told you, Klay, if he doesn't get what he wants, I've been told and I've heard that he's going to move to Los Angeles. So when I'm saying that, by saying this, the Clippers, getting back to my original point, because I know we kind of got on base.
No, it's cool, man. We jump all around on. That's why it's called unsportsmanlike conduct. We jump all around.
The Clippers could get two guys. Because if they land Kawhi, because we know what they've been doing with Kawhi as far as having scouting teams follow Kawhi's games, making sure they've been seen at Kawhi's games throughout the regular season, so forth and so on, right? Kawhi is a SoCal native. Wants to come back home, doesn't really care for Toronto as far as the weather and the situation.
Yeah.
And if I'm Kawhi Leonard, I have to ask myself this question. Do I really want to finish my days playing with Kyle Lowry?
True.
True. When I look at the roster, and when I look at the Clippers roster, and I see Lou Williams, I see a Montrezl Harrell, I see a Shai Alexander.
But isn't Harrell isn't he a free agent? Him and Beverly.
No, he has one more year.
Yeah, okay, he's got one more year. So this isn't an option year for him, player or team?
I don't believe so. I have to double check.
Yeah, I'll double check that too.
I know Patrick Beverly is gone.
Is a free agent? Beverly's gone.
Yes. Yeah. But I look at let's say they hold on to Montrezl Harrell because I don't think Montrezl is going anywhere. Even if it's a player option, I think he opts back in. Okay. He'd be smart to.
Well, most players opt in because they get that. It's guaranteed money. Yeah.
So let's say Montrezl Harrell, you have a 3-time Sixth Man of the Year in Lou Williams because I think Lou Williams is going to win a Sixth Man of the Year again this year. He should. He absolutely earned it.
Yeah,
You got
I don't
an up
even.
and coming.
Who else? Just real quick, who else would you give it to though? I think it's Lou Williams too. I don't even know
Yeah,
who
it's
you
not
would.
even a question.
Yeah, I was about to say I can't even think anybody at the top of my head that would even be in
No, not at all.
competition for
And
it.
I look at guys like I look at a Landry Shamet, who's a good two guard.
Yeah.
I look at Shea Alexander, who's on the come because I am absolutely fascinated with Shea Alexander. I think this kid is going to be dynamite in another couple of years if he continues to work hard. Because he has a very high basketball IQ. Young kid, bright, energetic, listens very well. That's one thing that Doc Rivers said even during the course of the season, that he appreciates the fact that a young guy like a Shea Alexander, really listens, puts in the work, puts in the time. I look at, if I'm Kawhi Leonard, I get to come home. I get to play in great weather. I get to play for an outstanding organization. I get to play. I got an owner that's willing to spend any amounts of money possible to get what I need to get. I'm the best two-way player in the game. And we got money for another max player. So let's say KD stays in Golden State. Let's say Klay Thompson moves down south on the 5. If I'm the Los Angeles Clippers, I pull in Klay Thompson, and I'm Kawhi Leonard, that's a top 4 team in the West. Period. Now, they may be the number 4 team in the West, but it's still a top 4 team in the West.
Okay, if hypothetically, if you put those two guys on the team, then I would probably say it could be a top 4. It could be a top 4.
Well, I'm just saying what I'm saying is it's a very high possibility that could happen because the Clippers have put themselves in the position to be in the mix and to be respected in the mix. That's all I'm saying. None of us know guarantee where these players are going but themselves because we're not in their head. Obviously, we look at the Brooklyn Nets, who have some cap room. We look at the New York Knicks, who are the number 1 market, the premier franchise in New York, in the number 1 market. So they have an opportunity as well.
Who wants to go play for that guy, man? Like that's why I don't think.
Here's the thing, Steve. But here's the thing about Dolan, and I'm not a Dolan defender at all whatsoever. But for all intents and purposes and things that I've read, Dolan is slowly stepping back because you look at Steve Mills and what Steve Mills is doing. They do have a front office that is together. One thing you say about the New York Knicks, their front office is together. They do have a coach in place and a very good coach in David Fizdale. So to hell with the owner, because most of these owners are jackasses anyway. So I'm not playing necessarily for the owner. I'm playing for what's in place already. And I think a lot of these players look at what's in place. That's why the Lakers don't look as attractive as they once did, even with LeBron James, because they're looking at the chaos that's surrounding the front office. Jeannie looks great. Jeannie is smart.
It's not just hold on real quick. It's not just the front office. It's the franchise because LeBron brings his share of bullshit too. It's not just the front office with the Lakers. Kevin Durant hit the nail on the head when he said it's toxic. Yeah, it's toxic. From top to bottom, the Lakers are toxic right now.
I didn't say it was just the front office, but I'm saying that is the bullseye that is being shown and has been shown for a long time. That is the bullseye. I'm not saying they're the only ones, but they're the main contributors because that's what's been shown. We look at the departure of Magic Johnson. We look at what the stress and the strife between him and Rob Pelinka. We look at the inaccuracy of Rob Pelinka and the lack of experience. Now we got the Rambis family involved in this. You have Johnny Buck involved in this. You have about 10 it looks like the Lord's Supper. I mean, how many people are going to sit at the table when they try to do these pitch meetings? Are you going to have a round table? Or are you going to have a rectangle table? And put on how many seats are you going to have at this table? Because it's ridiculous. When you go, if I'm the New York Knicks, you got Steve Mills, you're probably going to have David Fizdale there, and probably somebody else there. Dolan doesn't even have to be there, right? You look at the Los Angeles Clippers. Who's going to mainly be there? Steve Ballmer, Doc Rivers, probably Jerry West more than likely, and maybe Lawrence Frank. Maybe. You know who you're dealing with. That's my whole point about the Knicks and the Clippers. You know exactly who you're dealing with. You don't know who you're dealing with when you're dealing with the Lakers. You don't know that. Yes, LeBron brings his share of drama. I'm not saying that. Okay? But you can't put this all on LeBron James. LeBron was brought here to not only put butts in seats, but he was also here to try to win a championship. But he also came knowing that there was a front office in place to get that job done. Now he's totally discombobulated because Magic steps down, doesn't call LeBron, doesn't give him a heads up. Okay? I don't think LeBron is really that solid on Rob Pelinka with his inexperienced self.
Yeah.
You got the Rambuses over here. You got Johnny Come Lately over here. You got Jeannie Buss doing God knows what. Okay? We don't know. It's chaos. You don't know if you can trade for Anthony Davis. And at this point, as far as I'm concerned, I think that ship has sailed. I don't think they get Anthony Davis. As far as I'm concerned, I don't think they do. I think that ship has sailed.
The Lakers?
The Lakers.
No, they don't. They're not getting AD.
And to me, I don't think they really need AD. Because the way LeBron plays now at age 34, going into age 35, he's a stretch 4. So you need somebody that can bring the ball down to get LeBron in those key positions. So whether it's a Kemba Walker or whether it's somebody like that, because you can't trust Lonzo Ball because he can't stay healthy the whole season.
Well, according to his daddy, they don't know how to they don't know how to handle him. According to his daddy,
and his daddy is a moron. I will say that until the day I die. And also, if you believe that, I have some beachfront property in Phoenix to sell you.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, I've been looking for beachfront property in Phoenix.
Yeah, there you go. Well, call me. We'll talk off here. But it's just you don't have any real tradable assets outside of Kyle Kuzma. You don't have any real tradable, appealing assets. I mean, thank God that Brandon Ingram found that condition out before it was too late.
Yeah.
I hope he makes a strong recovery back. I like Brandon Ingram.
Absolutely.
I think Brandon Ingram is talented. I think he's a good kid. I think he's a talented kid. I think he was just on the come up of figuring out who he was as a player. And we saw that. That's why he played so well in the second half of the season, because he finally found his stride and his groove. I think Lonzo Ball will probably be, if he stays in the league long enough, he'll probably be one of the most elite passers we've ever seen. Can he shoot? Hell no. Can he rebound? His rebounding is mediocre. His defense is inconsistent. Can he play defense? Sure.
Yeah, I'm about to say he's a great defender. Yeah, I like him on the perimeter because
great.
Hold on. I like him on the perimeter because of his length.
He ain't great.
Yeah, of his length. Well, I mean, I put it to you like this: when he was healthy and playing defense, so went the Lakers.
But he ain't great.
Oh, what's great? What's great then?
Great is when you're like, great is Kawhi Leonard. When I said he's the best two-way player in the game, that's great. When he plays defense, that's great. Klay Thompson, when he plays defense, when he's locked in, when Klay Thompson is locked in, that's great.
So Ball was never Ball's not locked in at all?
Huh?
Ball's not locked.
He's inconsistent.
Klay Thompson's inconsistent on defense, and I like Klay.
He's more consistent than Lonzo Ball. The numbers show it. Oh
no! You can't. No. We're not gonna do the numbers thing.
No. I'm basing my argument on fact.
Okay.
I'm basing my argument on fact.
All right, yeah, we're not going to do the numbers.
The only facts that we have right now beyond the eye test is the numbers, because that's the way that you have to keep the facts in order. So what I'm saying is, based upon the numbers, because it's factually speaking, not just opinion based, but factually speaking, Klay Thompson. The numbers say that Klay Thompson is a more consistent defender than Lonzo Ball.
Okay.
Just saying.
All right. Okay.
I'm based upon that. It's facts. We all have our own opinions. That's cool. You like who you like, I like who I like. But I'm saying, as far as factually speaking, just like you said, factually speaking, hey, we don't know where these guys are going. You're absolutely correct in that. We don't know. We don't know where these guys are going. We're not God. We don't know. Okay? What I'm saying is, when I look at this team, this Lakers team, and I'm trying to trade versus the Boston Celtics, or dare I say the New York Knicks, who could be dangling the number one pick and the biggest phenom since LeBron James leaving high school. And if I'm the New Orleans Pelicans and I'm saying, well, hell, we're going to suck anyway. AD don't want to be here.
Well, they have to trade AD this summer. I just don't know where, but that situation's ugly. And
the Boston Celtics have picks.
Yeah, they got players. Yep, Boston. I mean, Ainge. I think Ainge has got to do something anyway. I'm not sure what Kyrie's going to do. I would like him to stay. I know probably, but I would like him to stay because once again, I think guys.
Why?
I think.
Why?
Yeah, Bill. Hold on. I'm gonna tell you. Hold on. Give me a second. I think guys tuck tail and run too much. Stay and fix it. It's a better situation for you win wise. There's no guarantee you're going to get another player to even come to New York. There's no guarantee. Listen, we're going to find out where the Knicks pick tomorrow night anyway. So we'll find out. They do the draft. I think it's tomorrow night, right? They do the draft lottery. They're going to show us who picks where. So after tomorrow, honestly, a lot of these variables go away. A lot of the ifs are going to go away because we're going to see if they end up with the third or the fourth or something like that. Then you can cancel all the Knick talk. There's no point in mentioning it no more. There's no point in even bring. It's like, okay, now I would go, now Kyrie, if you go to that, they're not even going to get the number one. There's no guarantee that Durant's going to come. And if the Golden State wins their third, you got to kind of say, damn, man, I might want to really go for a fourth. It hasn't been done since the Celtics in the 60s. You know, why not? Why not? And listen, Durant's also got a over $100 million Nike deal that's all guaranteed to him. I'm not sure if NBA contract might now, being from the DMV and knowing some of his circle, this is just what I've heard. Every NBA player wants money. They get that. But this is kind of a new day where it doesn't solely depend on contract money because these guys are getting money and a lot of money from so many. Clay has a $100 million water deal from some China company, and he's got an $80 million endorsement deal from the Muscle Milk. So I understand what people are saying about this money here.
And he has a I believe he has a $20 million deal with Body Armor.
There you go. So right there, it's $200 million. So
here's the problem though. Clay, guys like that, every guy's not built like Kevin Durant. Guys want all of their money, a la James Harden, who got a $200 million shoe deal with Adidas.
Yeah.
But then he also got a max deal with the Houston Rockets that was over $200 million. What I'm saying is everybody's not going to be a Kevin Durant. And Kevin Durant's going to want at least a 3-year deal that's going to cost you money. So every dollar that you give to Kevin Durant takes away from the dollars that Klay Thompson
You don't
wants.
think they somehow finagle, okay, Durant, let's do one more 1-year deal with you. We'll give you $35 million for 1 year, and then we'll talk about you again. Let's go get this fourth, and then next year, Durant's still going to be able to say, okay, I can either go to New York or I can remember Miami, a team nobody's talked about. Not this summer. Miami's going to be major players in 2020. There's going to be major. So that's why I don't think he leaves, because I'm looking ahead like, okay, the Knicks thing sounds so great, but we keep hearing this shit about the Knicks and nobody goes there. We've been hearing about the Knicks for like 5 years, supposed to be getting a free agent every summer. Nobody goes there.
That's true, but here's the thing. Getting back to you, and I'll address that too, because I felt like you definitely beat me to the punch, because I was just thinking about Miami in 2020 and 2021. You look at, okay, getting back to Kyrie. Kyrie has never fit in Boston. It's never been a complete fit in Boston for him. That's why I say he's done. I think once he plays out his contract, he's done. Because it's too much turmoil. As they say, you can't get the crap back in the horse, right? And I think it's a load of crap in that locker room. And I think the funk is too strong to ignore. This is why I say Kyrie leaves. Now, where Kyrie goes, I don't think he goes to the Lakers. I don't think that happens at all. I think it's nice. I think he may have even discussed it with somebody at one point in time. Like, damn, I would think about going to the Lakers. But then all this other stuff started happening, and, you know, Rome's empire started to crumble. I think Kyrie leaves. I think there have been discussions between him and Kevin Durant on playing together, or the idea of playing together. Where they actually go to play together, still, as you say, remains a mystery. But there is, for all intents and purposes, I think it goes beyond basketball to have Kyrie and Kevin Durant playing in the number one market. I think it goes deeper than that. You touched on something earlier as far as the outside of the 94 feet, how these guys survive and how they live. And I think that it touches on that as it pertains to more of a business move than just basketball. If you look at LeBron James, why would LeBron James come to the Los Angeles Lakers knowing what they've only accomplished in the last 5 to 6 years, which is nothing?
Hollywood.
Right, because it was more of a vested interest in his business, because this was more of a business move than a basketball move. Now, is that to say that LeBron doesn't care about winning? Not at all. I think LeBron wants to win a championship. I think he wants his legacy to say, hey, everywhere I went, I've won a championship or two, right? And that's a great legacy to have, especially when you're one of the best players in the game. But his main reason, I think, was for business.
Yeah.
And the same thing could be said for Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant. Because make no mistake about it, who are both of these guys signed with?
What? Kevin Durant? What? Who? Nike? Are they have the same agent?
Bingo.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Yeah.
You answered it.
Oh, they're both with Nike.
You don't think, as global as Nike already is, they want two of their biggest stars in the number one market near Wall Street on Madison Avenue. And then you possibly have a third star in Zion Williamson, because I believe Zion is signing with Nike. So now you got three stars in the number one market. You're making hand over fist with shoes and apparel, right? And appearances and all this other stuff. Nike will be plastic. They ought to call New York Nike City, because that's what it's going to be. And it's a brilliant business move. Think about this. Kyrie's won a championship. Kevin Durant would have won 3. Right?
Yep.
You got the biggest phenom since LeBron James coming out of high school in Zion Williamson. And let's say Zion gives you Blake Griffin numbers, which ain't bad at all.
No.
I happen to like Blake Griffin as a player. I just wish he would stay healthy more.
No.
But let's say he gives you a healthy Blake Griffin numbers. Right? Eventually. It's not a bad deal to have if you're New York and you're at Madison Square Garden, the Mecca. All I'm saying is we got to think outside of basketball for a change. I know we all get caught up in sports related and what makes sense team wise and what doesn't make sense, but you got to look at it from a business standpoint, because these young men are businessmen. They're not just athletes; they're businessmen. And I think LeBron has pretty much changed, and his team has pretty much changed the culture when it comes to guys thinking of themselves as entities instead of just individuals. And I think that's a great thing.
I get all the business sense of it though, but I'm also
and that's where I'm coming from.
But I'm also on the side though too that you don't have to live in certain that time has changed. You don't have to live in certain cities to drive your business. That's just not. It's like me as a comedian, as a filmmaker, as an actor. I live in Hollywood. I live in Los Angeles. Yes. But if I choose to move to another city, the internet and social media allows me to still build VJ Entertainment, invest in sports. I don't have to be here to do so. I can fly in town when I have to perform, or when I'm at the Comedy Store, or when I'm at the Laugh Factory, I'm at the Ice House in Pasadena. I can still come back to LA and do what I need to do. I can move to Atlanta. I can move to Charlotte. I can move to Dallas. I can move to DC. I can move anywhere. Business, I get what you're saying. I just think business is just a little different. Actually, we got to wrap up, and we'll get more into this, man. We'll have you on again. Sure. We'll talk. Sure. I'm gonna hold the rest of this until after tomorrow because honestly, if they get this guy and this guy, I like scenarios as much as anybody, but those ping pong balls tomorrow night, thank God, is gonna kill a lot of this talk. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I hope the Knicks don't get number 1. I really don't. If they do, I'm gonna think it's rigged. Just like the frozen envelope for the Knicks before with Patrick Ewing.
You didn't think the draft was suspect when Cleveland got all those number 1 picks?
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. No, okay. not only just LeBron leaving.
I'm not saying anything.
To get LeBron.
I'm not accusing the NBA of anything. I am. Asked the question.
Yeah. See, that's the thing. You connect it when you're independent. You can say the hell you want.
No, I just listen. I play the long game.
Derrick Rose, that's fine. Derrick Rose to Chicago, yeah, fixed. All those draft picks, all the number 1 picks to Cleveland. When LeBron left, it was like saying, "We sorry you lost LeBron, but here you go. Here you go."
I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, hey, I'm saying, just like the Lakers. They tried to help LA, and LA screwed it up. They gave them the 2, the 3, the 2, and the 2, and LA screwed it up. They tried to help the Lakers, and the Lakers screwed it up. They didn't sign Julius, and they traded D'Angelo. So you're stuck with Ball and Ingram. They tried to help out. Now, I'm former military. I come from a military family. Therefore, I see certain things and hear certain things that the average a citizen doesn't. Being in the military, I believe in conspiracy theories. I just do. No, I don't believe in aliens. No, I don't believe in damn Bigfoot. I don't believe in shit like that. But if you tell me that everything happens organically in life, I've lived in this country too long. I've seen way too many things to know that that's not true. Things just don't happen.
I don't think things happen. I don't believe in coincidences. Let me put it that way. Yeah, I tend to agree with that. I don't believe in coincidences.
Like refereeing. I don't believe that all referees throw games. No. But I know Vegas. I follow sports lines. And it's not the Warriors game on Friday night on ESPN against the Rockets. It's that Wednesday night Memphis Grizzly Nugget game that nobody's watching. That's not even on any TV. That's the game.
Which is why I said I think Golden State wins I think Golden State goes to the finals because you can't. You know how bad TV would be if you have Portland and Milwaukee.
Yes.
Who the hell is gonna watch that?
Well, guys like us will, but not the masses.
I ain't watching it. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I ain't watching it. I ain't watching it. What the hell for? If I want to listen, I'd rather watch the Stanley Cup, even though I love watching hockey. But I'd rather watch the Stanley Cup because at least with the Stanley Cup, there's going to be some interest. Yeah. There's going to be some fights breaking out. There's going to be some sort of interest what keeps me entertained. That will not entertain me whatsoever. I love Dame Dollar. I think Dame Dollar is underrated. I think I'm glad he's getting his just due. But I do not want to watch Portland and Milwaukee in the NBA Finals. Not at all. Give me Golden State.
Of course.
Give me Steph Curry. Kevin Durant will be back. Possibly DeMarcus Cousins. Klay Thompson. Give me the Greek Freak. Give me, Eric Bledsoe. I want to see that. That's what I want to see.
Real quick before we wrap up and you tell everybody where to catch you at, Warriors, Portland. Who you got?
Warriors in 6.
Warriors in 6. Bucks, Raptors.
I got the Bucks in 6.
And 6?
Bucks in 6.
Yeah, I like 7 in both because once again, I know Vegas. I like 7 in both. I know Vegas. I know there'll be times when like in the Portland series, they'll control when Steph can go off and then where teams can grab it. Like if you really watch that Houston series, Steph Curry got grabbed more than he did in the 2016 finals. I've never seen Steph grabbed and held on to that much. The people played it like PJ Tucker was guarding him. No, PJ Tucker was grabbing and holding the hell, but it can't be 5 or 6. It's got to be 7. I just know Vegas, man. I've been around.
I'm gonna say 6 in each series, I think we have the NBA Finals between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Golden State Warriors, and that's gonna be a 7-game drag out series because I think the Bucks are top notch at least 1 through 10. They're top notch, and I think you have a healthier Kevin Durant. You definitely have a fresher Boogie Cousins. And I think it's going to be a drawn-out, intense battle between those two squads. So
I'll take Warriors. I'll take Warriors and Raptors only because I need Kawhi in the finals, so it actually adds more drama to whether he will leave or not. Because I'm going to take a.
And that's exactly why he's not, because of you. You're the reason why. You're the Drake of why he's not.
Oh God, no, man! I can't stand Drake. I don't even claim Drake as a vanilla bro, dog. I always rock with the Vanilla Bros. We don't even claim Drake. I'm the vice president of the Vanilla Brothers Coalition of Southern California. They appointed me vice president, and we suspended Drake like 2 years ago. We just let Chris Brown back in. We suspended him too. Yeah, we just let Chris Brown back in. Drake's not even, he's not even American. He's Canadian. He's Canadian. He's Jewish. He's not even allowed in. He's not even part of it, bro. He's not part of it.
Hey, I'm gonna let you hold that. I'm gonna let you hold
Yeah,
that.
bro, this is nothing new, man. If you go on my YouTube and follow my comedy and my web series, I've been Drake bashing for the last 5-6
Oh, I know
years.
you have. That's why it makes it funny.
Yeah,
That's why I love it.
this
It makes
ain't
it
nothing
funny.
new, boy. Drake, man, listen, does he spit a bar that I like? Yes. Does he have a song or two that I think knocks? Yes. But, you know, did you see the DMX video about a week
Drake
ago
got
where X was like,
Drake got bars.
he was like, I don't like nothing about him. I don't like his face. I don't like the way he looks. I don't like his haircut. I don't like his... DMX went in. Tell everybody where they can find you, man.
Hey, man, I'm gonna say it like this, man. Drake still has bars. I enjoy his rapping. I can't stand the singing part, but I enjoy the rapping.
Tell everybody where they can find you, Nick.
Hey, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nick Hamilton LA. You can catch me on YouTube at youtube.com/The Morning After with Nick Hamilton. Catch all the latest and greatest in sports and pop culture. All the videos, interviews. We got stuff with Don Cheadle. We got stuff with George Lopez. My man Schoolboy Q just dropped his record. Lots of stuff coming up down the pike, man. So y'all want to stay tuned, keep it locked in.
We appreciate you, man, and God bless on everything you got coming up, man. And like I said, after tomorrow, we'll wrap. I'll shoot you a few text messages, and we'll get you back on the next week or so. Probably when the finals start, get through the conference finals, and then we'll go from there.
Sure thing, man. Thank you for having me on, man, and continued success to you, man, and all that you're doing as well, man.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. I'll see you around.
All right, man. Have a great one.
All right, player. Nick Hamilton there, man. Good stuff. Good stuff. You know me, I let guests go. I just like to let guests talk. His first time on the show, I let guests like to ramble. I don't agree with the Clippers stuff at all. I think I don't know if he works for the Clippers or if he's a Clipper fan, but he's very passionate that the Clippers are going to get 2 max players. I don't think the Clippers are getting 2 max players. I don't think it's a foregone conclusion that Kawhi is leaving. Kawhi is he's such an enigma. Like, you think you know what he's going to do, and you think you know what any of these guys going to do, and then something happens, and they do something different. Like I said before, like, nobody saw Kevin Durant going to Golden State. You know, LeBron going to LA, I think everybody saw that coming because of all his Hollywood interest. But there's times when these free agents, we think we have it all figured out. And we just don't. And I think this could be one of those times with Kawhi where we think we know what's going on and we think we know where Kawhi is going, and we don't have any idea. We just don't. We think we know, and we just don't. So we'll take a quick break. We'll come right back and wrap it up. VJ's on Sports with Light Conduct.